Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, Acting President Osinbajo fires DSS boss Lawal Daura over security blockade of National Assembly, cancels Lagos engagement, and later on the show, Atiku hits back at Obasanjo, says he's enemy of everyone except himself. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Gani Kayode Balogun, and Mobolade Omonijo. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Straight to business now. For the uptake time, the National Assembly, a supposed symbol of the country's democracy, was under siege. Armed and masked officials of the Department of the State Service, DSS, blocked access into the assembly complex as early as 6 in the morning, preventing legislators, staff, and journalists from entering. The latest sacrilege is on the heels of the defection saga that rocked the parliament. An emergency meeting of the National Assembly leaders called by Senate President Bukola Saraki to discuss some salient national issues was cancelled. The security blockade prompted the presidency to wield the big stick. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, fired the DSS boss, Lawal Daura, over the travesty. Now, Professor Osinbajo had to cancel his engagement here in Lagos. Let's give you a tip of what happened at the National Assembly this morning earlier.
I tell you to shoot this bullet, and Nigerians shall face you. I dare you to shoot this bullet. You cannot come and go back to your station. Go back to your station. You cannot come here and embarrass us and also oppress us here.
The same people we are fighting for.
Was it the same thing Jonathan did to Buhari? If good look at all this, will Buhari have become a president? You cannot do this to us. You start shooting at us. Have you heard? Have you heard? You come here with max face. You come here with bullets in your DC to intimidate you. Enough is enough in Nigeria. Yes. Then we use the people. Shoot this gun.
Your salary is things happen to you and they don't compensate you.
Shoot down here. How many people can you shoot down here?
Boma, we are fighting for you and your families as well, unless you guys are not Nigerians.
We are waiting for members. Let them come. We'll confront them. Don't worry. Just wait for
Stand
members.
up for this democracy. We are not going back to 1980s.
No, we're not going
Don't
anywhere.
worry. We'll confront them very soon. Let members come. This is a coup against democracy. The only arm of democracy has been shut down, and so there is no democracy in Nigeria again. What I want to tell Nigerians is that this happened when Abacha took over. I was in the House of Reps. They brought soldiers to International Conference Center. We challenged them and we broke the gate open. It will repeat itself here, because if our security men cannot protect democracy, we will protect democracy by ourselves as elected representatives of the people.
Gestapo style, a Gestapo style coup on the National Assembly, the cradle of democracy of this country. The presidency has sent the State Security Service and the detachment of mobile police force to block the entrance of the National Assembly, preventing members from entering lawfully into the National Assembly. What we're witnessing is a denigration and a complete disgrace to this country. It means that we no longer operate a democratic government.
Babajide, when I saw that earlier this morning and conflicting reports, I didn't get it. At a point in time, I was watching another station, and Senator Ben Bruce actually called in to say they were allowing the pro-APC senators, legislators into the National Assembly, and the PDP ones, they were debarring them. So I thought it was, automatically to allow the APC senators to commence impeachment process against the Senate president. But later, when I called my sources, I now discovered that there's no iota of truth in what he said and everything. But the bottom line is that we saw this man, this marksman. What would have warranted the presence of these people in the National Assembly? Stopping lawmakers, stopping civil servants, people that work for the National Assembly Commission within that place, stopping them from entering.
It's only the unthinking people who came up with this idea who can answer that question, because I couldn't have imagined that these people would behave like this. These people have put not just the president to shame, they put Nigeria to shame, because they are trying to create a climate of fear and endanger this democracy, this hard-hand democracy. Some of these people wearing this funny mask, what role did they play in enthroning the democracy that we enjoy today? There are journalists who lost their lives to ensure that we have this democracy. We lost our friends. But today, politicians and some of their agents are subjecting this democracy to serious threat. What is the point in going to the National Assembly? What is the point in going to the National Assembly to block access to the National Assembly? What's the point? What do these people think? They started this funny idea in Benue State. You went to Benue State, you gave access to a few lawmakers to impeach a sitting governor. You thought we were still in Obasanjo era. They have tried their best. There are some people who are trying their best to cause Buhari to be doing those things for which we continue, and we will continue to condemn Obasanjo. Remember, even at the thick of the agitation in the Niger Delta, when some of us here called for dialogue, there were people who were telling the president, go and bomb the place, send soldiers to the place, when soldiers who were meant to carry out the military campaign were drowning, and the same people they were supposed to kill were the ones saving their lives. They realized that force doesn't always work. And this acting president, God bless him, wherever he is, was the one who went to the Niger Delta and engaged these people, spoke to them. Today, our oil output is about $2 million barrels a day, which we didn't even move near achieving at that time. They think force can achieve all things. What is the meaning of this? If we want to impeach Saraki, if the senators want to impeach Saraki, they know what they have to do. You must get the numbers. You must achieve it. You must have 73.
76, okay, 73.
So if the APC has 53 today, they know that they must look for 20 more. If it is the new playmaker that they just signed, Akpabio, that will give them the 20 lawmakers to make up the number, let that playmaker bring the 20. Because we are hearing that he promised 15, although these days, most things that we read on Facebook and other places are just lies.
Fake lies.
Everyone thinks of himself as a journalist without training.
Emergency journalist.
So I commend the courage and competence of Oshibajo for taking this decision, because these are the kind of decisions that we must take. In our democracy, you need to take the big decisions, courageous decisions, because at the end of the day, that is what will help us. But of course, he was meant to come to Lagos. But the moment this thing happened, he was embarrassed by this. He's a lawyer, he knows what the Constitution says.
Nigeria, a professor of
he
law.
called the president that, look, this is what is happening, and I'm not happy about what has happened. The president told him to take the action that he deems fit, because you are the one in charge. I've handed over to you. And he took the right decision. The same way he took the decision to send Onogen's name to the National Assembly when we were vacillating needlessly about sending that name. Oshibajo has come forward again and revealed himself in bold relief to Nigerians that he is a man cut out for leadership. He's a man cut out for bigger responsibilities. He has done the right thing today. The shame that enveloped us in the morning, Oshibajo has helped us to wipe it off. So we are happy, because Now we are even hearing that Lawal Daura has been arrested. I don't even care whether he's arrested or not. It belongs to the Gestapo NSO. You know, Rafin Dadi and the rest of them, who used to serve food to detainees in potties that they used to defecate, was what they were serving people food with. And when they chased away the regime of Shagari, the NSO cells were thrown open. And we saw man saying humanity to man. How do you serve people food with what they used to defecate? Wherever that wicked person is, even if he's in heaven.
Can it be in heaven?
Justice. You see, when we say heaven is the home of God. Heaven is the home of God, it's the seat of God's preeminence. Wherever he chooses to be, whether it is heaven or not, justice should be served to him for serving Nigerians food inside their potty. You know your little kid now, defecated inside potty. That was where he was serving people food. So Daura is in his mid-60s. He belongs to that era. But they've shown him the door now. And a new man has taken over, Seyefa Matthews. We hope that this kind of embarrassment will stop. The president condemned the invasion of the Benue Assembly. This is just like these people do not even read even the mood of their bosses. They thought that by invading the Benue Assembly that the president will be happy, but he condemned it.
GKB, what would have happened without hearing from the acting president? Because there's always this reply that it's order from the top. Who would have directed Lawal Daura to station his men to the National Assembly?
The same person or persons that did the Benue thing and who thought they had immunity against obeying the laws of the land. Like Jide said, what is supposed to be a very bad day for democracy has turned out to be a very good day for the rule of law. Because what the acting president did was to confirm that we have an executive presidency that is not afraid to kick butts. You can use that on open television. But having said that, the fifth columnists in this government are more than just Lawal Daura. There are still a lot of pockets of people who think they approved the law. And until and unless this presidency decides they're going to take charge of what is rightly theirs. Don't forget, everybody else serves at the behest of the presidency. We didn't vote for them. We voted for Buhari and Osinbajo. And if they continue in this manner of taking prompt action to correct the public perception that they are complicit in things that are destroying our democracy, then I think we have a very bright future ahead of us.
Mobolade, look at the way, as powerful, because before now, I thought Lawal Daura was one of the untouchables of this administration. The DGSSS is from Daura, from the president of states, and you know, somebody close to the president, and he was the one that almost stopped the confirmation of Magu. He stopped the confirmation of Magu. He has done some
times.
Yes.
2 times.
He stopped EFCC from arresting the NIA DG. Yes. You know, there have been several inter-agency rivalry, and comes across as somebody that, yes, that the Senate, the National Assembly, they've called for his removal and everything, but he has survived till now. So, at what point in time did everything change for Lawal Daura?
His cup just got full. He's been trying. He's been getting away with it, like you just said. From time to time, he does this. People condemn me. There's general outcry, but he survives. So he felt that, well, he was growing in impunity and felt he could get away with anything. But then, you see, as we are even getting closer to the election, the president also knows that you have to be more careful if you must get back. You can't keep winning enemies for your boss and think that you could just stay in that office doing whatever you like. Professor Osinbajo, like Jide said, has endeared himself to a number of Nigerians. He's a decent person, he's deep, he's responsible, and he's now courageous. That's what we need in a leader. One thing that we never liked in many of the things that the president has done is that he's not been decisive. Just gave the example of Benue. Yes, he came out and said, no, I didn't send anybody, but nothing else was done. Perhaps if action had been taken,
what the policemen
like this, yes,
led that operation.
Perhaps if something had been done then, nobody would have dared do this now. Mr. Daura felt that since the president was not around, the acting president would not have the courage to do anything to the acting president. And something had to be done. Cabal had been a problem with this country for a while. Under Yaradua, you had what you call the cabal. You've always had them, under Babangida and all that. So you've always had all those things. Now, with this administration too, people have been insinuating that the cabal is ruling, not even the president. No. Now, with this kind of action, if we see a number of all things like this, where people step out of line, you put them.
You punish them.
You punish them. Then everybody will sit up. That's what Nigeria needs, discipline. The difference between us and a number of other countries is discipline.
Yes.
We have resources, human, material, but there's no discipline. Everybody does what he likes. It's also at the heart of the corruption that we are talking about. Impunity is indiscipline. Everything you do, everything should be according to the law. There are 3 arms of government, and the 3 of them must be respected, and they must respect one another. The legislature is the first estate of the realm. Irrespective of the kind of people that you have there, you must respect the institution.
The second estate.
Okay. Now, Babajide, looking at this kind of action, the acting president Yemi Osinbajo and a lot of people they want to give credit to Professor Osinbajo, not knowing that it's part and parcel of the administration, that is still the Buhari administration. Now, moving forward, what would this kind of signal send? What kind of signal would this be sending to other agencies that before now, the president will say, I told IGP to go to it, he did not obey me.
If the vice president is in charge, there are some people who know that they will have to sit up because he's going to give them a kick in the groin. They know that because it's just like Oshiomhole. The things that the president will tolerate, Oshiomhole will not tolerate. He doesn't even have that patience.
At all.
So it's about the individual and his style. By the way, I made a mistake when I said Ravindadi actually worked under Buhari. It was Shinkafi that worked under Shagari. So Ravindadi was the NSO boss under Buhari. So Lawal Daura was trying to recreate Ravindadi in our hearts. And then he's been asked to go. So let me make that clarification. But the truth is, there have been some actions that the vice president and acting president now took that will tell you that he does not brook nonsense. Remember when he came to the airport here, they were not expecting him. And he walked into all of those toilets, and he found the toilets of the airport here in a very bad state. You know, they were not expecting it. Because if they had announced that he was coming, they would have tidied up the whole area. They would have rolled out the red carpet and all that, the way we do. Once the Oga goes back, we return to the dysfunctional way of doing things. And I think, just as my brother Bolade said, there is need for discipline. You can't tell an IG to go somewhere, and then the IG has the guts to not go. What could bring that about? It's because the IG probably thinks that you will not sack. Everyone knows that this president is slow about sacking people. But there's nowhere that I know in the world where people would disobey the number one.
Commander-in-Chief.
Commander-in-Chief. They don't call them Commander-in-Chief for nothing, no. And then they get away with it. It is only in a dysfunctional setup. So the president has to change his style. He has to quicken the pace of decision making. You look at what's happening in Zamfara now, how we are dealing with those boys. This is a decision that we should have been taken a long time ago.
Exactly, months ago.
How come it just occurred to us now that we should use the airport in Katsina as the operational base for the Air Force platforms. And you see now, they're taking care of those guys, dealing with them. We could have done this a long time ago.
And would have saved lives.
Yes. We have an airport in Kaduna, and we are watching bandits kill people for fun in Gwari, not far away.
Less than 100 kilometers.
Not far away. We can't come up with the right decisions at the right time. So what we are saying now, we are happy with the acting president for the decision that he has taken. You can't undermine his position. He's the acting president. You read his statement that this is an assault against democracy, and that nobody spoke to the presidency before taking that decision. For God's sake, if the other Daura wants to take decisions like a president, he should go and contest an election. He should put himself through an election and see what it's like. You can't arrogate to yourself, or even Abba Kyari cannot arrogate to himself the powers of a president. After all, he wasn't even in their party from the beginning. He was in the PDP. What are we talking about here? People take decisions that embarrass the president, and the president will be slow in dealing with them.
Embarrass the nation.
I think
Embarrass the nation. So it has to stop. We must draw a line in the sand. That from now on, this kind of aberrant behavior will not be tolerated.
At 10-11.
Because they are putting us to shame as a people. You did it in Benue, you got away with it. You want to use eight lawmakers to impeach a president, a governor, because Obasanjo did it. Obasanjo is now your hero that you must replicate whatever he does.
The role model.
So you want to go to Abuja to do the same thing, and give the enemies of the government and give the enemies of Nigeria something to chew on. So this is a good decision, and it's a happy day. I'm going to go to bed early today, and I know that I will sleep sound, because this decision pleases me to no end. My friends who are on the bottle, I'm going to buy, they are going to drink or have their several bottles on me, because this is something to celebrate. This is something that I'm extremely happy about. Aberrant behavior should not be tolerated. It's not happening in other lands. The most powerful man in the world probably now is Putin. There are decisions that Putin will not take, because he would think that this could embarrass my country. But the enemies of Nigeria don't even care anymore. Whether it embarrasses the country, it doesn't bother them, as long as it makes them happy. They just go ahead and do it. So it has to stop.
There seems to be no central command system within this administration, as in somebody will just wake up and just feel that, okay, today is the Senate president, I'm going to accuse him for robbery, to be connected, this person will do his own, and something is dysfunctional.
Another person will say it's not right.
To be fair to the president, without offering it as an excuse, the man said himself that because of what happened between 84 and 85, he has grown extremely circumspect when it comes to taking hard decisions, because he tries as much as possible to make sure people's oxys were not God. And in this manner, he has created for himself pockets of monsters in his administration who think they are totally above the law. And because, you remember, before I left this country in November, I said nothing will happen to the cabinet. Remember, almost a year later, nothing has happened.
Till now, nothing has happened.
And that's the kind of things that people like Mama Daura or Lawan Daura assume that they can get away with stuff. And once the president has not decided on his own to be in charge, instead of being in office, things like this will continue to happen. What has happened today was a man putting his reputation and his name on the line and telling his boss, enough is enough. And the man said, you are the boss. Do what you think is right. That is the end of dysfunction elements in this government. Because it's now clear to everybody that
this man was quite powerful. If this guy
can put his job on the line and go to the president and say, look, can't stand this anymore. President, you are the boss. For the next 8 days, you are in charge. That means that he has taken the guts to do what is right. And I'm glad that it was a Lawan Daura and not a low-level officer.
Yes.
And I'm glad
it sends the right message.
This is a big fish.
So
It
automatically, 3 things are achieved by this. 1, nobody's immune. 2, the man is not afraid of consequences. And 3, if you don't sit up, you'll be booted out.
Let's talk about the politics of the National Assembly. We have a situation that needs urgent attention at hand. And Uncle Buki has said, guys, we are gone till the 25th of September. My birthday anyway. To come back on the 25th of September. But with this INEC thing and the timeline to the election, I think he's going to meet with INEC, and he's going to start talking to people. But is it not time for the sake of unity of this country and development of this country that these guys should come together and just see these appropriation bills signed?
Well, I think what is wrong with our country, what is missing, is the concept of national interest. People don't really appreciate the essence of office. You go into the legislature, you go as individuals, and you see yourself as being above everyone. You go into the executive, and we should know that what is the most important thing is the national interest. That's where personal interests, they are there, but they coalesce when it comes to the national interest, and we've not been having it. Now, on the issue of INEC, we know there will be election in February. We know that there are timelines for all this, and that once you miss one, you are likely to miss quite a number of others. And these are issues that we should take into consideration in all things. I think that the National Assembly has no choice but to still convene to consider the request of the executive, because it's in the interest of this country. If anything changes that election again, people will come up with a lot of conspiracy theories that may not all go well for the country.
Okay, let me take Justice. Justice is calling us from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, Justice.
Thank you very much. I just want to commend the action taken by Obasanjo. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening. Go on, please.
I just want to comment on the action taken by Obasanjo. And I want other Nigerians to take a look of what's happening in the National Assembly. And I want the same action to go to our chief security officers that believe that they are above the law. Some weeks ago, there was an order that IG should go to Benue, of which it didn't go to Benue. Until today, there is no action taken about that. So I want the same action to go to the IG.
Okay, Justice, I have to pay this bill. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
We take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout. If you're just joining us, we are reaching you live from Television Continental here in our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. And we are looking at the sack of the director of the State Security Service, DSS, that is Lawal Daura.
Former director.
Former director. Oh, former director. Good. I think we have a new man now. Babajide, the clip we showed earlier, we saw a woman, I think a lawmaker,
stood up to them, yes,
standing up to those marks men, and I was like, man, this woman is courageous.
She is a relation of Dokubo Asari.
Oh.
And she actually won an House of Rep seat, from Rivers State. Remember the rerun election in Rivers State?
Yes, yes.
She was one of the winners at the time.
She was pointing at them.
You see, there are, not every Nigerian is a coward. It's not every Nigerian that is a coward. That kind of behavior deserves to be resisted. If a man had done it, they probably would have slapped her, slapped him. But they know they can't slap a woman. No, they can't. Nobody will shoot in that situation, except a mad person. They always say that you don't argue with someone who's carrying a gun, but not in this situation. With so many people watching, they will overwhelm them. The crowd there will overwhelm them. Haven't you seen where crowds disarmed policemen? So it's not even every killing that security people can get away with. They couldn't have, it makes no sense. What they've done, it made no sense. And that's what she was telling them.
I wish my producer,
challenging them to shoot.
I wish my producer can just replay it and let's get the audio.
Challenging
She
them
was
to
so
shoot.
courageous.
That's the thing. You can't be related to Asari or be involved in the
Militancy.
struggle and not have militancy running in your blood.
Okay, let's talk politics of the National Assembly now. Anyway, while the president, while some people are saying, look, especially the chairman of the party, APC, that Bukola Saraki, you cannot run away with our crown. That means you must leave the position, you must vacate that position. And you are saying they don't have the number. Itayinak said the presidency is not even, they don't even have any intention of removing Bukola Saraki. But the way forward, some people are saying that, look, it must be done. The argument is that if he's 53, if he's 50, that he was sworn into office with 57 senators out of 109, not meeting that 70-something requirement. That
you need only a simple majority to elect the presiding officer, but you need two-thirds majority to remove him. That's the difference. And to convene a majority convene, you need the presiding officer,
Senate President.
Yes, you need the Senate President to give a directive for the reconvening.
To give directive to the clerk.
Yes.
So that the clerk
will make all arrangements for the reconvening. So even if all the lawmakers come together, minus the
Senate President and the Deputy Senate President.
Yeah, minus the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President. If they all come together to say they want to sit, what the law says is that the presiding officer still has to communicate to the clerk that the National Assembly or the senators want to reconvene. So the law has been made in such a way that it protects the presiding officer. Yes, they don't have immunity. So you need about 240 House of Reps members to remove Dogara. Except if you want to remove them by extra legal means. So you need 73 to remove what's his name? Bukola Saraki. I know that the APC members are working hard to remove him. And what some of them have told me is that they will not use extra legal means, that they are confident that they will find the number. So,
all right, let me quickly take this.
Time will show to us whether they can actually muster the number.
Thank you for joining us. Who's on the line? Go ahead with your contribution, please. Hello? Johnson, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, Mr. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
And the other crew of TVC, please, I'm very happy to see you people. Please, you cannot tell me that the president and the remaining people, there are some big wrong. Who is about that thing? DSS don't have right to just go to National Assembly and close the place up. There is something behind it. He's assuming that if it happens that way, they are attacking them in this way. It shouldn't have happened. Like Babajide said the other day that once the president is too slow, why you give instruction immediately? Such a thing is stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnson, for making it short and simple. So, GKB, the implication of this, the National Assembly, the Senate President actually said it yesterday that they were meant to come with the officers today to talk and to check out the modalities, and it's as if, yes, they've seen the reason why they must actually reconvene.
Well, you know that in every system there will be fifth columnists, people who have their own agenda, independent of the one for the general good. And while the drama is to be enjoyed on the face value, the repercussions are deep. Because right now, the National Assembly is standing on the tenterhooks. Nothing is really clear-cut. And in that process, you have to be extremely careful if you are the presidency to ensure that things are done in such a way that not only will we be seen as clean, but also be accepted that you've done your very best in a clean manner. Having said that, it doesn't take away the fact that where were these people when after Obasanjo's shenanigans, they moved this rule to protect presiding officers. If people like Gani Family have been alive, these are kind of things you will have gone to court for.
To test.
That you cannot put somebody there with a simple majority and then ask people to remove him. That's almost an impossible. It's just like the same case with creating states or changing the constitution. They made it so worse that no matter what you do, it's almost practically impossible to amend the Nigerian constitution. So these are the little traps set into the system that good lawyers, not the TV celebrity ones, will have worked on at the time it came up to say, no, you cannot have this. Ipso facto, if you are using 57 to elect yourself, 57 should be enough to remove you.
Have you?
But we understand the dynamics. Just the same thing about going to the Supreme Court when they were losing cases at the Court of Appeal as the final arbiter for electoral matters. They simply move it to the Supreme Court. And if they start losing cases in the Supreme Court tomorrow, they probably look for another court. You know, Supreme Court. Politicians are selfish by nature. They don't care about you. So going forward, I think what we need to do is work together. That's why I'm not very happy that this is the time for INEC to be coming. These are statutory allocations. You know that there are elections next year. Yes. You know that you need to get this money this year. Why this late? Why such rampant incompetence?
And it doesn't even need environment.
At all.
It doesn't even need environment.
It's amazing.
I wanted, but I don't know. Will it be morally right? Since 1999, I've not seen this kind of thing, but a lot of people, as in the opposition party now is the Senate president and the deputy Senate president. I've not seen such configuration since 1999.
Well, you've not seen it, but the one we had even before now, with the ruling party having the Senate president and the opposition having the deputy, was also unprecedented. Yes. And it was allowed to stand.
That's Tambua.
So
Tambua was in the opposition and it was in the minority.
Even with the Saraki as Senate president and the Kurimadu.
Tambua was in PDP.
Yes,
he later moved. He moved. But he was elected as the speaker under PDP. He was still a PDP member. He defied PDP.
When he decamped,
he stayed as speaker.
He became a minority.
Yes.
Yes, Abi?
Yes.
He became a minority and he continued to preside over the House. But because I remember at that time, it was oscillating. The majority status was oscillating between PDP and APC. And Bajabiya Miller on one particular day said, we can't be majority and be sitting in the minority. And then the PDP went, poached a couple of federal lawmakers, you know. I think one was from Nasarawa at that time. And they bounced back. They became majority again. And that was how it remained until the end of the Jonathan era. But Tambua was a minority, but he continued to exercise his powers as speaker.
Your final note on this?
No, I was just saying that there's controversy over what you could do. Morally, conventionally, it appears incongruous. You can't easily understand what will make
chairman
you
of APC is saying
allow that. But on the other hand, what does the law say?
What the law says that matters.
That's what matters. And secondly, I remember very vividly in 1979 when you had the National Assembly, the Senate as it was. You had I'm going to talk of the Senate itself.
The alliance,
when there was
alliance between NPP
and MPN. And when there was the election, I remember that
his position, and it was minority.
Even the UPN still had a candidate, even though it was a minority. It lost, but it had a candidate, which means that it felt that if we could work out something it had an alliance with PRP and GNPP, and thought that something would help them. So, but honestly, I think that the law should stand at any point in time, and nothing should be done at all to rock the boat. It does not do us any good at all in the eye of the international community.
All right. Moving on now, mentorship and alliance are some of the ingredients that oil the wheel of politics. But oftentimes, the relationship between supposed mentor and mentee, or that between allies, can break down. Hence, the saying, no permanent friends nor foes in politics. The relationship between Nigeria's former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and his east-west vice and ally Atiku Abubakar has gone from good to bad, and now it is worsening. At the weekend, Chief Obasanjo restated his opposition to Atiku's 2019 presidential ambition, saying God would not forgive him if he supported his bids. But Atiku, who was Obasanjo's vice between 1999 and 2007, challenged the Ota farmer to go and settle with God, his God. According to Atiku, Obasanjo cannot continue to be enemy to every person except himself. I was thinking when they were forming COP, when they were coming together, PDP meeting with ADC and pushing everything together, Babajide, that Obasanjo was that former President Obasanjo is so desperate to see, to get rid of President Muhammadu Buhari to the extent that he doesn't mind, because he has gone to Body Judge's house, he has gone to all the Afenifere leaders' house, he has gone to Ayode Banjo's house, he has people that you know, yes, people you know he's not munching with. He has been to Femi Fanika's house on this matter, just to make sure that, look, galvanize opposition against Muhammadu Buhari. But I was thinking, for Atiku, he's going to just overlook what has happened in the past and try and form a formidable alliance with Atiku to get rid of Muhammadu Buhari. But what is it between Atiku and Obasanjo that cannot never be resolved?
You know now.
That God will not be happy with me if I support your presidential bid?
Well, he imagines that he has the right to speak the mind of God. But it's not everyone that God gives that power to be able to speak his mind. And we also know that even God has this capacity to surprise. Sometimes what you don't expect him to do, he goes ahead to do. And God is known to have even blessed those who offended him. You understand? Even the Israelites in the Bible, they had the reputation for hurting God. Yet God continued to please them. God continued to make them happy. I'm not a pastor, and I don't intend to be one. But at least this little
Bolade is a pastor.
Yes, this little, a pastor. Is it a lie?
This guy.
That the Israelites continue to hurt God. They continue to make him unhappy. But God continued to
show mercy
to them. So for someone
forgiving them,
you see, the way he spoke, he tries to come along like God's nature is to permanently keep someone's sin in his heart. I don't think that is the nature of God.
Because he said, if I'm appointed the sign of sin, nobody will wait.
I don't think that is the nature of God. To permanently develop an attitude towards you,
unforgiving
a negative attitude towards you. I don't think that's the nature of God. And I don't think Obasanjo, yes, he has a degree, he has a doctorate in theology from the Open University.
You see him,
it doesn't qualify him to try to characterize God in the way that he's doing. You know? So, if after all this year, we know why he finds it difficult to forgive. I've always said that he does not forgive. It's not that one hates him so much that one will now be lying against him. These are verifiable things. He does not forgive. It's a fact. So, Atiku tried to get Naba and others to impeach him. He holds that against Atiku. And Atiku's essay strategy at that time, Dr. Ado warned him about the consequences of moving against his boss at a time when his boss was in Southeast Asia. But Obasanjo, beyond, people always talk about the fact that he prostrated for him in the Akwa Ibom lodge in Abuja, so that Atiku will not contest against him at a time when three-quarter of Nigerian governors were behind him. That was when Atiku lost his opportunity. But Obasanjo pleaded, and he head back. In my view, whatever it is that Atiku had done, that he agreed to let you run, to agree that he agreed not to contest against you when he was in a position of strength.
When the likes of James Iboria, everybody, they were
when he
rooting
was
for
in
you.
a position of strength, the governors were all for him. I think he owes him a debt of gratitude. But we don't see that. Every opportunity, we write a voluminous book, abuse the man, say all kinds of things. The man has done everything humanly possible to make it up to Obasanjo. Remember, even against the wish of his party, ACN at that time, Atiku went to Ota to hold a nocturnal meeting with Obasanjo, and he lost the goodwill of members of his party. This guy has done everything to make Obasanjo forgive him. But by his nature, he does not forgive. So this is the thing. And to go to the point of saying that even God will be against you, then tell us what he has done. Maybe there are things that Atiku has done that we do not know. But these are the things that we as historians know. We know that he pleaded with him. We know that he tried to impeach him. But God gave you victory. Absolutely. That's enough.
He gave him the Mandela option.
If people team up against you and God gave you victory, honestly, you don't have to go to this point.
The bottom line is that how will the support of Olusegun Obasanjo or not supporting Atiku Abubakar, how will it affect the chances of Atiku Abubakar negatively?
Well, in 2019, less than zero. But you must remember that Obasanjo is an Owu son. And that's all I'm going to say about the matter. He's an Owu son, and that particular sub-tribe, I know for keeping grudges. In fact, they have grudges longer than elephants, who are technically the ones with the longest memory. But having said that, I think...
That's a whole race that you are talking about.
It's a sub-tribe.
Better limit it to Obasanjo.
No, it's an own thing.
Unless you will have the like of Governor Ibikule Amosu to contend with.
It's an own thing.
It's from
like saying that Oku people are good musicians and good parties.
But this is not a virtue.
We are talking about Olusegun Obasanjo.
To not forgive is not a virtue. So I don't think it's right to label a whole...
I'm not labeling them. It's in their oriki. It's part of their approach. I'm not labeling them anything.
Okay, moving forward.
But having said that, I think we are giving Obasanjo too much credit. Absolutely. In this context. And that Atiku even replies him, shows that Atiku himself has time to fall for those shenanigans. If I were to be him, I would have ignored the old man's attempts to remain relevant to cases that have already gone beyond. That ship has sailed long ago.
For both, he said that because he's thinking that, why don't I demarket this guy again? He appears to be gaining some momentum. He appears to be gaining some momentum. Some people are calling him Mr. Restructuring. If I don't begin to demarket him now, he may win.
Ultimately, you can't stop what God has ordained. If that is what God has ordained, you have to be careful. Because remember, there are some people now for 3 electoral circles for becoming presidents. And if Atiku is not destined to be president, it's not going to be an Obasanjo's
forgiving him.
Yes, it's not. He's winning the election. It's not dependent on what Obasanjo does.
Or whatever he does.
Jide actually quoted, made allusion to the Bible and everything. And Obasanjo is a Christian, and Atiku has...
He's a church owner. He owns a church now.
I don't know if he owns a church, but I know he's supposed to be a member of the Baptist
Church. He has his own church now. I can confirm to you.
I don't know if he has.
I almost even attended his church.
Anyway,
when I was
on leave, I was scared that I could be identified. So
the issue is not even that. The issue is that Obasanjo has shown over the years, like Atiku said, I don't like Mr. Atiku myself, but that's neither here nor there. But like Atiku said, Obasanjo is interested in 4 persons. Nothing more. Matthew, Aremu, Okiki-Olakan, Olusegun. Those are the people that matter to him. Any other thing outside that?
No, he doesn't like Matthew anymore. So it's now 3.
No, anything outside that. I mean, look at all the heads of state we've had. We've not had it very smooth. But at every point in time, when he thinks that somebody is gaining, he comes in then and throws a bomb at the person. From Shagari, that he installed himself. He will write a letter and he will project himself as the hero of the time. He started an Association for Democracy and Good Governance at a time, to oppose IBB. He has always been doing that. So I'm not surprised that he did that to Atiku. It's not about Atiku. It's just that he has a natural bad belly over issues. It's natural to him. But it's not about God sending him or he having the mind of God. He sees himself as a God of man, not as a man of God. He's a God of man. He sees himself as projecting himself. Everybody must eat in my palm. And you be under my foot. I think we should just go beyond Obasanjo. OBJ has very little to do. What somebody said of the Pope, I don't like quoting it, said, how many battalions or divisions does the Pope command? Electorally, what is Obasanjo's constituency? Is it Ogun State? Is it Egba land? Is it Yoruba land? Is it the North? Where? So why are we bothering ourselves so much about the man? He could. Oh, yes. He could do that. And now he has some national... I mean, he was taken so serious that even Soyinka had to do another book on the man just last week, which he launched. But they have their own natural grudges that have stayed for so long.
Age long.
It will stay with them until they go into their graves.
Even when they go to their graves, they will still look for each other.
Well, if they could, I think it's very important that all of us should begin to think about this country as we are moving ahead. It is our duty, whether civil society groups that themselves have become
something else,
politicians,
or political parties, or security agencies, or the government institutions, we don't seem to be thinking about the Nigeria of today and Nigeria of tomorrow. Other countries are moving forward. Nigeria sees itself as a giant of Africa, when it has been dwarfed by so many.
Actually, because we are a giant, they are moving slowly.
On another note now, looking at the dimension, with several other people coming into the People's Democratic Party, Atiku blazed the trail by declaring his intention. He has been there. We've known this is at least I know Atiku's ambition. I've known it for like 3-4 years now. Do you understand? But there are latter-day converts that are coming into the People's Democratic Party, and we begin to look at the chances of even Atiku clinching that ticket. Stambuwal is there now, Kwakwanso is there now, Bafra McAfee is there now, Sule Lamido is there now, and you have quite formidable people. And I'm not even removing the Senate President himself, because I know he might take the gauntlet.
Intra-party elections can sometimes be tricky.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure that they won't do direct primaries. They're going to do indirect primaries. And sometimes the outcome can really, really give you a kick, because it's the person who has the organization and who has the money,
and the deep
money, very important in delegate election.
Delegate election?
Money, and the person who has the heavy hitters in the party on his side, the person who has the most heavy hitters in the party on his side that will carry the day. If you look at the pattern of the PDP convention, the last one, you can almost guess that it is the person that the governors back. PDP has made governors extremely powerful. They will tell you, if a governor is defecting, he takes all the structures. So now, even in the impending presidential primaries, that's the pattern that it will take. And when I look at, if you are looking at, okay, who has structures across the country, who has acceptability, the greater acceptability in the north, for example, because the candidates will come from the north for the two big parties. It has to be Kwankwaso. If you are who is closest to Buhari in terms of, honestly, it has to be Kwankwaso.
Like a reflection of their last primaries.
Yes,
in Lagos.
No, and he sustained. He continued to oil the machinery and all that. So we are talking about someone with cult followership. At his own level, he may still be far from Buhari, but he's the one that is next to him in northern Nigeria. If you are looking for someone who really can organize and make things happen, then you'll be talking about someone like McCarthy, But the PDP leaders have a decision to make. I just think that from the look of things, Atiku, his chances are not really bright.
I want to thank you, Mobolade Omonijo.
Thank you very
GKB, thank you. Babajide Kolade Titoju, thank you. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangouts at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.